Hey pals!
Hey friends! Today we're going to be answering another question we've received. It's sort of a multi-part question, so I'm going to read it. Female bonding is the most dangerous thing to men. Studies showed that 1 woman in a boardroom was accepted. Men are used to a token. 2 were viewed with discomfort, disdain, suspicion, even anger. 3 were far more accepted. Any more casual female roles on all those all-male planets? Elsewhere? Will Ray ever get female buddies? We don't know, so we're going to talk about it.
And we're drinking some afternoon tea out of some amazing cups gifted to us by our lady friend and former co-host, May.
Hi, May. I feel like this is sort of a really special question for us because this whole video series sort of started because we were having these conversations as a part of our female bonding. Clearly, it's a very important part of our lives and the lives of most women. Female friendships are sometimes the most dominant, most formative friendships and relationships in women's lives, and they're really, really underrepresented in media.
Yeah. Often, if you look at action or sci-fi, big genre movies, you'll get the token one girl, and she doesn't seem to have any female friends at all. It was something they brought up on Agent Carter. Haley Atwell really wanted to make sure Peggy had female friends in her life. She felt like Peggy was a gal's gal, even though in Captain America, the First Avenger, it's just Peggy by herself in this very masculine world.
That is a story, the single woman in a male-dominated field or environment, but that's the actual truth of that story is not really the story that ever gets told.
Yeah.
Instead, what you end up with is multiple versions of the cool girl, which was articulated really well by Gillian Flynn in Gone Girl. This idea of the cool girl being the guy's girl who's completely comfortable with, even, say, more comfortable in an all-male environment than around women. And there are women who exist who get along better with men than with women. We all know women like that.
Yeah.
But it usually, at least in my experience, girls feeling alienated by women.
Yeah.
And that's like a loss.
Yeah.
Nobody is proud that they don't get along with women.
Yeah. Regardless, it's something that these kinds of characters, these women on their own, it never gets explored about the character. Why doesn't she have any female friends? What is it about her, either as a person or her upbringing or both, that has made her more comfortable in this environment?
I got a lot of people who use as an example of a story that doesn't pass the Bechdel test, but like an exception should be made for Edge of Tomorrow, because that single female character is a strong female character in many, many ways. She's a wonderful character.
She's complicated.
She's three-dimensional and all of the rest. But I can't help but notice when I watch that film that she doesn't seem to have any female influences on her life, that she's surrounded by men all the time. It doesn't affect her at all.
Yeah.
And it really would. It really, really would.
Another side effect of this, of not having female friendships in film, is it sort of reinforces the stereotype that women are often in competition with one another,
Right.
which drags all of us down. Female solidarity, which this question is addressing, is such a powerful and important thing. And so I really hope Rey does get some female friends her own age.
Yeah, peer friends.
Peer friends, not just her great relationship with Leia that we begin to see developing in the end of that film.
I almost can't imagine it.
Maybe Jane Erso is going to have someone in her life.
Girlfriends.
All of the angry fanboys out there are like, they're already taking over. You don't need more women, but I'm sorry, I want more women.
We do.
So this brings me to the question, why? Why do you think we get so many depictions of token women on their own without female friendships around them?
Well, there was a period where complex female characters were more common. And then they sort of disappeared, and women were really just
The wives and girlfriends.
Yeah, the love interests.
And we're talking here about throughout cinema history. Complicated women in the 40s going into the 60s, 70s, love interests.
Yeah, and probably it does correlate to second wave feminism when people started questioning, well, why are women only wives and girlfriends? And so that translated into more complex female portrayals, but not more volume of female portrayals. So while it was weird to have the only girl be the girlfriend, it wasn't weird that she was the only girl.
Yeah. I think another thing that factors into this is who's writing these stories and their experiences and what they're drawing from. There's a really great scene in Neil Gaiman's Sandman comics. It's about a father and a son, and the father takes the son out to the desert, and he tells him this story. And at the end of the story, the father tells the son, and the women, the mothers, go out to the desert, and they do the same thing, but they tell a different story. And he doesn't know the story, and we, reading Sandman, don't get that story because this man doesn't know the story that the women tell. So I think there's a lot of that coming in. Men aren't privy to the conversations women have with one another very often. For the most part, I think it's difficult for a lot of men to conceive of what women would talk about.
Right.
Which is why, again, it's so important to have representation behind the camera.
If they're not talking about a guy, what could they possibly be talking about? It really does feel weird to me because I have a lot of female friendships and they're very important to me. And I know that I'm not unique in that way. So to have them nowhere on film, when they show up, it's like this huge magical moment. That was probably my favorite thing in Spy. The friendship between Melissa McCarthy and Miranda Hart, it felt so genuine and real life. And it existed before the movie started and it continued to exist after the movie ended. So we're gonna read-elect Supply with an Army.
Favorite female friendships from film?
From film.
Or television.
Or television. Okay. I'm gonna say I want to read Rory and Paris.
Oh, yes! Yes!
They're just such good writers.
Yes.
And good collaborators.
What an amazing example of competition turned to friendship.
Yeah.
Too.
Like a joint blog, the way that Go Fug Yourself is like
yes!
with two best friend women who are like
really cute.
Yeah.
All right, Thelma and Louise, you got an army.
Yeah.
You have an army now. You can fight off the forces of patriarchy.
It all is not lost.
You don't have
it's
to
not
ride
hopeless.
into the sunset off a cliff. Spoilers, sorry.
What about Babs and Dinah?
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd elect them too.
I mean, they were in the Birds of Prey TV show.
Yeah.
A couple that we would like to see in film someday.
Yes.
We would love to see a Birds of Prey movie with Barbara Gordon and Dinah Lance, and we would totally elect them.
Yep. Pretty
Babs
much any
for
office.
Prez, Dinah for vice president. Send her attacking people.
Dinah is the Biden.
Yes. Yes.
Just eating ice cream and pizza and like 1,000,000 calories because she burns
and
a ton of
throwing
calories.
huge shade on everyone forever.
I'm in. Let's do it. Cheers to that.
If you have any more questions for us, we'd love to hear them. We love answering them and talking about them.
We do.
So please send them in or put them in the comments.